Hi guys, this will be an interesting one. A lot of people has been asking about reserve residences. Well, I typically reserve my comments until the indicative prices come up because no point trying for me to jump the gun and then give all the analysis. But the prices are we don't know yet. Because when it comes to a project that is not so good, but if the prices are super crazy attractive, it can still be a good development. So no point for you to talk so much first until the indicative prices are out. That is the way I think lah. So that's why recently the prices has been out. I think in fact the funny thing is that my previous video, which is just a few days ago, after I finished the video, the indicative prices came out. Like I think 10-15 minutes later. So yep, I would have shared it earlier if I gotten it, but it's okay. We still got a lot of time. Today, if I'm not wrong, is the first day of reserve residences. You can see I'm here for a reason. I'm not definitely not pushing people to go and buy this. I really don't see the point. Well, I will share with you my point of view for this. Then you see for yourself. But don't get me wrong, I feel this is quite an attractive development when it comes to a facade and then the concept of it. It looks quite nice. And also going to be a little bit of breath of fresh air in this area lah. For a place, Beauty World, a lot of people know it's a little bit locked, a little bit old, but it's they're going to rejuvenate the area. There's quite a lot of concept that has been talking and ongoing since like year 2020, and we are still slowly seeing the transformation. But where will all these transformation actually always result in property prices going up? I think you should know by now lah. There are a lot of things that are pure, they are just purely sales pitches, and also a lot of things that may not be what people say as it is. So as usual, disclaimer, whatever I share today is just based on my own point of view and my own research. Make sure you do due diligence and consult the right professional help before you go ahead and take the shot. Okay. And this is how it is. Generally, there are a few components. You have the residential component and then the service apartment component, which is quite interesting. I feel the concept is a little bit more like one Holland V. Well, after all, they are the same developer, so why not you copy and paste the same concept and then just add it a little bit, right? And then there's the retail side, and then also the bus interchange, and then you can link to Beauty World MRT. So this is pretty much what we call a true integrated, just like Woodley residences. Some they call it mix. Integrated you should have, but everyone has different interpretation of integrated because I don't think government has like an official definition of what's integrated. So it's really up to different interpretation. But at least from my own point of view, integrated should have, the residential side. This one I don't really consider it. This is more like commercial. Then the retail, and then the bus and the MRT interchange all linked directly together, like sheltered kind, then it's considered integrated to me. So this is and fully integrated to me. Okay, and like I always have to say to me because different people different interpretation. I don't know how many times I have to say the same thing. So the funny thing is that there are quite some agents promising that this mall is going to be huge, man. It's going to be the next Jurong Point, that kind of thing. I would like to dispute that because I don't think it is that big. Jurong Point is huge. I got lost there as a uni student in my first year a couple of times, and then luckily I had time so I can slowly walk around or even run around. Sometimes I put on my running shoes because I'm not gonna be lost. So I'll just jog through. Why not, right? Anyway, for those people who are wondering what's the break-even price, this one they recently just updated. I will talk a little bit more about it, but I personally don't think this is an accurate gauge. Okay, and then we'll be looking more of the fact sheets over here. There are a total of 700 plus units. Service apartment about 160. Plot ratio is 3.0. So you can see over here 3.0. How come the plot ratio here is 2.0? Is a big question mark. So later we'll talk more later. And as I mentioned, retail over here stated, this one is not I cook out one. Retail is about 220,000 square feet. worth of retail space, and bus interchange 9%, this one 4%, this one 9%, blah blah blah. But I'm focusing a little bit more now on this 220,000. If it's 220,000 square feet, I really don't think this is the size of Jurong Point. Jurong Point, I think, is one of the biggest. In fact, Next is not even that big. Can't remember. I think Next is definitely not the size of Jurong Point for sure. And Next to me is considered quite a mega mall already. So let's have a little bit of comparison how big this mall is supposed to be. 220,000 square feet. Let's see. Initially, Jurong Point was supposed to be 450,000 square feet. Then they expanded it to 750,000 square feet. So the Jurong Point that you see today is even bigger than what it initially used to be. It's about more than 3.5 times that of what reserve residences, the reserve, I don't know what they call it. Do they call it reserve mall or something? Yeah, so if let's say we assume that it's called reserve mall, so it's gonna be 3.5 times bigger than reserve mall. On the other hand, Woodleigh residences, we all know that is quite big, but it's not as big like a giant mega kind of mall. But from what we know, so as usual, disclaimer, from what I find out. So from what I see over here, pardon me, because I'm not really like jumping into this kind of 300 square feet, 200 plus square feet. I honestly don't think this actually matters in your property price movement. There are a lot of other more important things. So this to me is like a touch and go, trying to address certain concerns or even myth that people have. So 300,000 square feet. If you compare to the reserve mall, it is easily quite sizably bigger than the reserve mall. But the funny thing is that Bedok Mall, on the other hand, I haven't really been to Bedok Mall that much, but it is about the size of Bedok Mall, almost the same actually. So for those of you who have been frequenting Bedok Mall, that's pretty much the size from what we know. And then so back here to the break-even price. Previously, I remember when they first awarded this thing by Edgeprop, they were giving us a different figure, about I think 1,600 plus PSF. So naturally, right, that time the PSF for the overall land was about 900 plus. So people think that break even about 600 plus. That means reserve residence is gonna be launching at 1,800 plus, 1,900 plus. And then the funny thing is, I don't even have just one person telling me that. I have quite a few groups of people telling me that, they factor in 10% profit margin, and then they will be selling at about 1,800 plus to 2,000, which is going to be a very, very attractive thing. So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, sometimes you tell people they won't believe one, but experience really counts. And when you do a lot of research, you realize who are the developers and what is their pricing strategy like. Generally, I know right from the start, that time when I knew that the developer was Far East, they're not going to be selling you at this price. Come on. There's a reason why one Holland is still selling even till today. And what kind of pricing are they selling? I think it is kind of expected. So I mean, sometimes I just have to tell them, okay, you wait, you want to wait, you wait. Some of them, the funny thing is they waited 1 or 2 years for this, because this one was like awarded, I think, quite a while back. And then yep, I think it was like end of 2021. So that's almost like 1.5 years back already. They were waiting for that. So imagine 1.5 years, how many good boats have you waited? Even end of 2021 and start of 2022, there were still quite some good buys, but those people who chose to wait for these, how many good chances have they wasted? Some of them who even bought, let's say maybe start of 2022, they've been riding on maybe a few $100,000. Some of my clients have been riding on maybe $200,000-300,000 worth of indicative paper gains already. But these guys still choosing to wait, and then they decided, when this indicative pricing came out, why so high? So I'm like, come on, there's a reason that why I would say, even at this price, they won't sell it to you cheap. And the funny thing is, this thing suddenly came out, changed from 900 plus. So in case you're wondering, 900 plus is from the actual overall GFA, but somehow they tweaked to only sell you this is the price that they bought, 1 point something billion. And then Suddenly this price instead of this price is derived from only the residential component, which I feel personally, because there is no hard and fast rule of how calculations can be. So I think if I'm not, even accounting can be like, oh, all over the place. I don't study accounting, so don't quote me on that. So let's say like this, you suddenly say that, it's based on residential components. So that means what? That means you're gonna be selling, you're gonna be giving the commercial space to the developer for free. I mean, can't be, right? Then I don't think there's a very logical thinking to that. Like it doesn't seem fair enough to be taxing the residents just on that. So that is something that people may have to take note of. And even if the whole price was just based on the residential component, that converts to about break-even price of this. And if you take this, like what I said, you are essentially giving the commercial space, which the developer is going to be letting it out, leasing it out to other people for quite a high price, I would say, because it's same thing, integrated more. There's going to be a lot of supposedly footfall, right? Close to MRT, it's going to be hard of getting whatever, all the typical sales pitch that you hear lah. So, but I personally don't buy that. But people like to buy that because they like the integrated thing. Previously, you tell people BDO, simi replace, walao, so old, that kind of thing. Suddenly, you throw this one is like the biggest thing. So you can see people's perception change. So that is something that if you need to really have the foresight to know what people are actually thinking, how are they going to behave when certain things happen. But let's say even they based on this, and if you look at the indicative prices later, which I'll show you, it is still quite a generous profit margin. But for me, unfortunately, I choose to be a little bit more conservative. As usual, I'm a lot more conservative. So anything that passes my test is going to be, I would say, very, very highly likely chance that almost guarantee that it has to make profit, because I'm not going to be messing around with my money and even my client's money. And that is something given for sure. So for those of you who are, you would ask me before, and then why are you so pessimistic? No, as usual, I'm not pessimistic. I'm just being ultra conservative. If something can pass my test, come on. So I prefer to use this. And even if I give them about $850 cost, that's going to be break even of like this instead of like 1,600 plus previously, as we show on this app. But never mind, if we give it a little bit more cost, about 8,800 plus PSF worth of courses, then that should still be about 1,800 plus. But indicative, we've seen quite a lot of units, especially the smaller ones. They are starting from 2,425, and most people won't be picking on the 2,425. You look at the past few launches, the Mersu Grand, Continuum, starting from 2,3 and then starting from 2,5. But after launch day, 2,3 still have, 2,5 still have. But why people are not picking those? Because a lot of people always, the typical behavior is that, this is going to be a starting price. But end up, because I cannot take this facing, I cannot take a lower floor, blah blah blah, all the emotional things start coming in, which is perfectly normal for most buyers, because they always tell themselves they're investors, but they don't behave like that always, most of the time, 99% of the time. So they will end up buying something that's 200-300 PSF higher. So even if today I quote you, reserve residence is going to be 2,4, 2,5, most likely the average is going to be 2,6, 2,7, which is, I would say, expected. And if you think that is cheap, well, I would say, other clients that I have will be thanking you lah. So anyway, as usual, I think I kind of really like this quote. So it's not about, some people say that, I've been buying property for 20, 30 years. I'm obviously not that old, so I won't be trading properties for like 20, 30 years. But if the amount of experience, the amount of years that you buy sell, it doesn't mean that every time you are making money. It doesn't mean that every time you are losing money. Sometimes it may be because of luck. But the thing is, you have to see your experience very, very wisely. It doesn't matter how many years, there are a lot of, I'm sure you guys, for those of you who have been on YouTube, you talk to quite a few other agents. You see some agents, they are like 30, 40 years or 20, 30 years in the service, but they don't know what they're talking about easily. So sometimes it's about really seeing things as it is, rather than being told and then just transferring information. So I'm just a messenger. I think the important thing is that you have to see the actual value of the experience and then decide how are things going to be like moving forward, which in this case, like what is mentioned just now. Okay, so this one we talked about already. This is the actual location by itself. For those who have really been looking is very, very closely into this, I'm not going to talk too much about this. But yeah, it's surrounded totally by all kinds of roads, especially a super major one, PIE, which quite a lot of people have concerns about. But developers done their part. They try to flush it away from the PIE. So which I think this pretty much as best as they can already lah. So I'm not gonna fault them on it. That is something that at least they put that thought into it. They're just not, they didn't bother. They're just like, oh, scatter over. We don't care about how people feel, because they naturally know that people wouldn't want to stay too close to the expressway. So you can see, obviously they have conveniently left out the PIE for the site plan. You can see all the small road, but they wouldn't show you lah. I mean, for those of you who don't realize, it's typical marketing crap to me. And yeah, it's a little bit not so straightforward. You have all the different types here, the different colors. I'm not going to talk too much about these because these are what I call microfactors. And then this, honestly, I feel a little bit confused on this lah, but it doesn't really matter. To me, it's like a much more toned down version of this guy over here. This is quite an impressive development, but I feel when it comes to valuation, it's not so straightforward, which may not be a good thing for property investment in the long run. Okay, so this is the price matrix that has been issued. Some units starting from 2,300 plus. But these are not small size. These, and then the quantums are not small. So for those of you who are looking at about I would say small one betas, that will be easily this kind of PSF if you are okay to stomach that. And then like I mentioned just now, I don't think most people will be able to accept the lowest PSF. So the fair gauge will be probably to move a few tiers down the stretch. So somewhere around here. And you'll be surprised, a lot of people, if they look at the PSF, you look at the PSF, you may not be able to accept it. But there are a lot of people, they are still, they'll just go down, then they buy into the hype, and then they will still commit. And then the newspaper come out, or how many percent of this, so there will be market takers for that, no matter what. So it's just whether you want to be the market taker or aka the victim in this sense. I personally feel that it's not cheap at all. But the surrounding field that has been launched previously, I think they will definitely benefit from this. So congratulations to those people who have committed to those that were launched just a few years prior to that. Later we'll talk more about them. Supply point of view, it's about 8,000 plus within a 1 km radius. We have quite a lot of development in this area. Just go and take a look. If you want to, go and drive around. If you want to, if not, you are feeling lazy, just go and look at the map, how many of them are there. Easily you can see there are a lot of supplies, and a lot of them are freehold, which is a main concern to me in this area. Remember, I'm not a big fan of 99 in a freehold area, unless you're buying the 99 very, very, very cheap. Then that would be something that you can consider. But this is likely going to be the new price breaker. So this doesn't fulfill that prerequisite in the first place. Okay, some of those developments, just some only, I'm not highlighting all of them. Just on the left side, all these Foret, Daintree, all these later we'll show you the charts. And then on the right side, some like the newer ones will be the Mayfair series, and then some like Jadon and also KP. Yeah, this has a little fond memories last time as a secondary or even JC school kid last time. But yeah, I mean, sometimes looking back, it's quite sad that how it has turned out to be. So this is the actual location, and also the link over here, which was sold out very, very quickly. But there was one sub sale. Later I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, but we'll look at the left side first. Over here, Daintree, via Kismis, both of them are leaseholds. But The funny thing is that both of them managed to make money. This one, yes, it did, but I feel number of transactions that they have two-way transactions hasn't really picked up yet. The Creek again, I purposely threw that in because as a resale comparison, this is a freehold, the newest key on the block, and then also Riverdale also 99 year, and we see the performance. The Creek being the yellow one, the freehold, blah blah blah. And then the ones that managed to make money were this one, and even Verdale. I think they should be able to make money. So anyway, you look at this, the newest guys selling for cheaper than or even at the same price as the resale. I think it's a little bit hard to it is still safe lah, but it's still something that I personally still wouldn't really buy into. I still want to be safe. I don't want to be the most ambitious for sure. I don't need to be the most ambitious for sure. But I will want to be I want to go somewhere where my upside is still big and supporting factors are still strong. And most important of all, I know with this in mind, my risks are still low. So for it, they are definitely making money. They want this one is a good development. So congratulations for those people who have committed. I still feel that the strongest in this area is still this guy over here. Okay, and then this is the for the Creek. You can see the profit margins aren't as attractive, partly also due to the high supply in the area, especially when they were launched previously. I think they were launched at the previous market peak. So note previous market peak there was 2001 3 period. So quite a few of them they bought after this. Some of them bought soon after the peak period. Returns are decent. I don't think they actually lose money, but it's just not as impressive when it comes to investment wise. Probably they want to stay there or something, but they wouldn't have made big losses. So some of these guys over here, on the other hand, make quite some sizable losses. Then 3, it was being quite attractive. The annualized returns were high, generally quite high, I would say. And yeah, profit margins aren't super big, but like I mentioned, I think percentage wise, because all these are generally small units, I'm not exactly sure how the big units are moving yet. We don't have data on that, so let's see. But it seems that the people are attracted to the smaller ones lah. This one being a smaller development view at Kismis, both of them make about $200,000 for small unit size. So, but transaction volume is still haven't really picked up yet. So hard to tell for sure. Overall, how has it been performing? But I still think they are fine because they bought in at quite a decent price compared to the resale guys. And for the right side, we threw in a few comparison. These two guys are leaseholds, these two guys are freehold, and then this one also the freehold, newest key on the block. These two are resales, and we see how the two freeholds have performed. Unfortunately for KAP, have gone sideways. Basically, if your property goes sideways, you are effectively losing quite a lot of money because of interest rates, bus duty, property maintenance, and taxes, everything. Jordan also went up went down, I would say generally. For those of you wondering, it's not called Jardine, or maybe it is, I don't know, because that time I said Jardine, one of my clients corrected me, embarrassing lah. So anyway, I'm not very highly educated, so well, I just take it as this. Unless if it's wrong, then please feel free to correct me and let me know. Mayfair Gardens has TOP, and then still not exactly doing well. Mayfair Modern, not bad. But this one, if I'm not wrong, there is only one transaction. It's not really a very good indicator. Transactions volume for the resale market is not exactly strong yet. We don't know for sure. This one is only a 1 unit also. That's why it's a little bit too hard to tell, and it's a very small unit. Okay. Over here again, the amount of profits are decent. I wouldn't really say they are very impressive, because given the size previously, then to make this amount, I think it is still normal, especially given the amount of investment. The return on investments are not that great, honestly. Okay, it's a 99 freehold area, and then they were selling at this kind of price over the freehold margin. I wouldn't really say that it was really very safe at that point. Mayfair Modern, decent margins, almost same as the Gardens performance. This one is only one transaction, okay, or rather two transactions in the quarter. So and they are quite wide ranging. This one 2.4, this one 2.2, a little bit hard to tell. The other one is the Link, only one very small unit, tiny unit, 2007. Holding day hasn't even passed SSD yet. We don't know. Maybe is it a decouple case? We don't know. Okay. And then the other thing we want to talk about is the track record for developer. They have done quite a lot. They are one of the pretty much the biggest property firm in Singapore, if I'm not wrong. But as per price performance of these guys, I think not convenient for me to say here. But generally, you have to be a little bit more cautious. If you want to know more, then feel free to PM me. But that is something that I feel the pricing strategy is something that you may have to be concerned about lah, if you want to make money. But of course, if you really want to buy here for own stay, let me make it clear, if you want to buy here for own stay, I think it's going to be very convenient and also a very nice concept. You look at the picture, I don't know how the actual product is going to turn out, because we've seen quite some developments they promise heaven and earth, but come out the product really heaven and earth difference. So it's very hard for us to say here. Show flags are very nice. Finishings, I'm not gonna comment, but yep, it is the whole concept generally does look nice. It will be a nice place as of now. From what is envisioned to be, it's going to be something that's very very comfortable for own stay lah. Okay, and then also a little bit history of this developer is that previously they bought Chancery Court. I think that was like 2018, just before the government raised the ABSD. And the interesting thing is that they paid ABSD on that. So how does this matter? Because it shows us that this developer actually, that they are not in a rush to sell. They are loaded. Okay, they have a lot of funds to back them. If they want to pay ABSD, they can on it. They can easily afford to pay ABSD. So if you are expecting those news come out or price is going to be how many percent sold, a very high percentage so I highly don't think so, because of the price. Very likely it's going to be lower percentage sold. And if you're expecting them to drop price, I really don't think they will do it, at least not so soon, because they have very deep pockets and they are not afraid to play the waiting game. So that is something that you remember at this point, people last time 15%, you tell developer to pay, they will try to siam. But this guy just, okay, I don't want to have any date, I'll just pay on the spot. And then even till now, they still haven't sell it. They still haven't redeveloped and sell it. They're still leasing it out. We don't know what's their plan for sure. But this easily shows us that they are not your usual developer. They are a smart developer. They know how to play their game. They are one of the most established in Singapore. So don't expect them to give in to easily peer pressure or that kind of thing. They don't do that. They have very unique way of doing their sales, carrying out their sales and doing their own things. So yep, so just be a little bit more cautious on that, I would say. Master plan over here, like what I mentioned just now, is supposed to be 3.0, but I have no idea why that chart over there give a 2.0 is not accurate. This is 3.0. This is officially from the government URA master plan site. That's why this is more trustworthy. This was the amount that they bid for, and yep, Far East. This is just this one times the plot ratio. Okay. And then back to this one again. Like what I mentioned, it really depends on whether you want to, at least to me, you want to be a little bit more delusional to use this as a gauge and then gauge their profit margins, or you want to be a little bit more factual. I'll prefer to use this as a gauge, at least for me, because I always want to be more conservative. I really don't think why the residents should be paying entirely for the commercial land space, and then they get to lease out for free. I mean, if that's really the case, then if I got that much money, I want to be a developer and do that myself, man. It's gonna be basically I get people paying my property for free and I get to rent out to other people. It's like, wow, the best of both worlds is assured sure way to earn money. But remember, as long as the developer takes a bigger chunk of your profits, as long as they take a bigger chunk of profits, they are leaving very, very little room or almost no room for you to earn money. A lot of people don't realize that. They only look at, oh, this is the recent launches, they're like this, and then I compare here and there. Then this one actually should be what I call a good deal lah, because comparatively ma. But let me remind you again, today we are sitting on the high. We are sitting on a high in terms of market peak. Are there going to be opportunities? Yes, but are there a lot of opportunities? I highly don't think so. If you want to be in that position where when it's back to 2018, 2019, where there were a lot of opportunities, developer cut price. Unfortunately for you, supply is not that low to the extent that they had to do that. Are they desperate? No, they have a lot of time. There's quite a lot of them who just launched this year or even last year. They have easily 2 or 3 more years at least to sell. And that's why they can take their own sweet time, and they know time is there in their favor, because as long as this chart continually goes up, people will always eventually accept the price. So you as an investor, you have to know all this and be very, very clear whether are you going to be eventually buying into their strategy or not. Okay. And this was what I actually wrote out just before they sent a nicer version of this, because once I received this, and then I want to find out PSF, because there's a reason why they omitted a PSF from the first place. And this is interesting because of this, people will go batshit crazy. But I knew that the developer is not, their style is not like this. So I decided to do this, and then in a way you find out the truth lah. Okay, actual price, will they stick to this? Higher or lower, nobody knows. Very likely they collect a lot of checks, they are going to raise it. They collect very little checks, they are going to lower it a little bit, like what Continuum did, and then see how it goes. But then as we revisit again, I prefer to look at my own handwriting. I know a little bit clearer. 2.5 plus, that means they're going to be selling about 2.7. So generally, I'll add about 300 PSF, that around the kind of margin. And so if you look at it, this is definitely not cheap in my opinion. So please be aware. Just because you get a very good Q number doesn't mean that it's always a good deal. Remember, a developer can always drop prices if they can always drop prices if the units don't move. So they can do this. Some may not do this. They will just, like maybe like this particular developer, they will just as usual lor. But the problem is, after it hits the resale market, it may be like this lor. Right? Sometimes they can hold, because for them it's easier to sell, because they have the show flat. Show flat is like the perfect way to market a property really. How much more perfect can a unit get other than lacking the views lah? I mean, the only disadvantage that the show flat can have, I would say, is don't have the high floor, don't have the view, don't have the actual unit view. But in terms of giving the perfect user experience, they have all the advantage already. So they know they'll just throw in a little bit of fake discount, raise the price a little bit, drop in a little bit of price, and then some people will just buy that nonsense, and then they will just go in. Then this is just how the way it is, and that's why well, the price is unbeatable. Yes, they are right. The price is really unbeatable at this point. So far, I hope you get what I mean. They are really unbeatable at this point in beauty world. The right side, they haven't beaten this price yet. The left side, they haven't beaten this price yet. So it's unbeatable, yes, in a way. I'm sorry, okay, for those of you who are new to my channel, I'm not your typical. I'm not trying to push a product over here. I'm just trying to educate the crowd. If you need help, then you can text me. If not, you still want to stick to your agent, that's your issue. But for me, I prefer to be more candid, more blatant. As with my existing clients, they know my style. They know that I'm not going to bullshit, and that's why they have perfect trust in me. And then we tend to have very good relationship, because they know I'm not the kind that, you want to go see your flat, you want to do this. So yeah, if you're expecting to see some others, they're telling you, oh, this one is good, that one is good, that one is good, then I'm sorry to disappoint you. This is not the channel that you want. And so, as a reminder, please be aware of the facilities that you're buying into. This is a 99 in a freehold dominant area unless you got in at like this guy over here at a very, very cheap price. If not, then it may not be something that is very optimal for you if you are buying for investment. If you're not buying for investment, I have to repeat again, if you are not buying for investment, then please by all means go ahead and go for this guy, because MRT is downstairs, bus is downstairs, mall is downstairs, basically everything you have, and there is a brand new development as long as you can afford the consequences. Okay. Price metrics again, go and have a look yourself. As usual, these are all indicative. It's not fixed in stone. Developers can shift forward, shift backwards, but these are just what they have given us at this point. Okay, it's just a reference point. So same thing I mentioned just now. Always be very, very aware of how the macro trend is, the market it is. Back in 2013, quite a lot of properties lost money. I would say a large majority of new launches didn't exactly become very profitable. Only after they hold until here. If you have to hold that long for you to make money, then your ROI is going to be super low, or maybe net cost you're going to be running in the deficit. But at this point, did some particular properties make money? Yes. So if you go back to this logic, assuming we are at the market pay, in fact, but if you go back to this logic over here, I'm not saying that there will be a crash. I really don't think there will be a crash like this, but assuming, I would like to treat every market pay as it is. So assuming there is a market peak that we are right now, then we have to be very, very, very cautious. Pick the winners. Don't just go for something that has the biggest hype, that has what all the hearsays, because there are a lot of hearsays. People buy for 20, 30 years, especially the old timers. They go to the shelf flat, this one's so small, this one cannot make money, I cannot, blah, 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 so expensive. But end up, right, the ones that they buy end up, I'm not saying all, but quite a lot, then end up they buy or whatever resale because it's purely big, but they forget to neglect all the more important factors. And then you realize that net profit margin is a lot smaller than the so-called small houses, the so-called Mickey Mouse houses that they were criticizing previously. So remember, the value of an experience you have is not just by the volume, it's by how you see your experience and filter out the lessons accordingly. Okay, so for those of you who are still going ahead to ballot for this, I will hope that the odds are ever in your favor. Just don't be like some of the buyers. Even for the past few launches, the Musu Grand, even Continuum, I already know of some other buyers that I know they are going to forfeit already. It's normal. Every launches there will be. It's just that the Musu Grand previously, I think they launched without cooling measures, market sentiment was stronger. The developers launch it out back into the market first. But Continuum, will they drop out? I think they will. It's still too early to tell. But developers may not be releasing it that early. So because I think the sales are not doing that well. They are not going to be dampening their own sentiments by releasing the bouncer units, because they don't want too many people to know that there are a lot of bouncer units. And then also because sometimes when people they want to forfeit, they want to look for company first. Hey, this person forfeit, then I will also forfeit. So they don't want the Chinese 打草惊蛇. I don't want to throw out to the market and let people know that somebody actually forfeit. We wait for everyone to expire already, then after that, then we go and throw out to the market. So if you are thinking at this point, nobody forfeit, it is not true. Every single development, there will be people who will forfeit, because they buy into that typical launch day hype. Your Q number is very good. That's why you will get the best unit, best unit. And then they get pressured in. And what happens is, come back the phase like that for the next 5 weeks until the option expires, and then they had to they had to suck thumb, and they had to deal with it. So make sure you do a due diligence. If you buy already, make sure you buy it with peace of mind. Don't just buy because there's the agent is hyping you, all the different agents are like telling you this is a good buy, or your buyers are rushing in. Everyone, in the snake queue is super pressurizing. You see people buy, then you don't buy, you feel like you missed out. So they kind of FOMO factor, and then you come back, you get this face. So that is something that you wouldn't want to hear. Okay, that'll be all we have for today. It's quite a long review, I understand, because this is quite the hype. I would say one of the biggest. Some even YouTubers, they are saying this is like the best launch of 2023. Oh, come on. I remember seeing some of those a few months ago. I'm thinking like, is this guy even for real? Has they even looked at this property market before? But well, it is as it is. Yep. If you need help, then feel free to approach. If not, then see you guys. Bye bye.